When I was 4 years old, my father bought me a globe for my birthday because I'd already developed an interest in world geography. Maybe to some it would seem like a nerdy present, something that would wind up in an attic someday. But that little globe has followed me over the years. Though the political borders and names of countries have changed in time, I know I've examined every nook and cranny of it at one time or another. The contours of the mountain ranges, the ridges of the seafloors. I was always fascinated with the borders and why countries were shaped the way they were. Honestly, the arrangement of different colors is probably what grabbed my attention. Why was the Soviet Union green and Japan purple and Australia red? The globe was something you could touch, something you could feel with your hands. I could spin the globe and find myself on the other side of the world. I could locate where I lived and see all the cities around me. It gave me a frame of reference. It was around that time that we moved from our hometown, a little city called Amsterdam in upstate New York, to Tampa, Florida. Now I could turn to my globe time and again to trace the distance between those two places with my finger. I remember the car ride driving down the East Coast Highway, I-95, being in the back seat, looking out at the road signs, seeing the curved telephone lines rise and fall. I could guess how long it might take to get to the next largest town, and the next one after that. Later, as my family started to travel more often, the easy access of my globe at home required a replacement. An endless series of road atlases. Atlases provide more detail of our whereabouts during the long hours of our trips, and yet they are much more compact. The atlas itself may not have been as interactive because it doesn't spin, but they zoomed in and out of the landscape in a way that the globe could not. Atlases expanded my understanding of geography and how world's places and the spaces between them were connected. Finer relief maps gave me detail of even the smallest towns, points of interest, lakes, highways, and back roads. To me, that has always been where strange or interesting but hidden people live. People with stories to tell, of their solitude or how important they are to their extended communities. Back roads of small towns for me have the most interesting narratives. Add to that population distributions, topography, and land use census, and suddenly I know a whole lot more than I probably need to about areas of cattle and wheat production. I love looking at big cities like New York or Chicago just to see how the streets are laid out, where the Empire State Building was from Ellis Island. Why would you take the GW and not the Brooklyn Bridge? Much later, I developed a love for subways, like the Loop or the Washington Metro, just so I could sit as the train rocked back and forth and learn the stops, which blue or red line gets me there faster. My newfound knowledge of places led to a process of learning names. Suddenly I developed a sense of being able to know what you're talking about by referring to all that surrounds you. Nouns lead to adjectives and whole phrases of meaning. Huge city, heavy traffic, beautiful scenery, more shopping malls than you can imagine, quiet, forested areas. It's been an ongoing discovery of how the Earth lies, and being part of the space I am suddenly in contact with. Maps also feed my hunger for places I would like to go or explore with more depth. I started reading heavily around the 6th grade, and I began to notice when books, especially fictional novels, came with maps of fictional places, like Tolkien or Neil Gaiman. Stephen King reigned supreme on my bookshelf, and because I loved how he used the same fictional towns and intermingled characters with the Bangor, Maine he lived and grew up in. Narratives of journeys through places accelerate the power of the imaginative mind through maps. Paul Thoreau's Dark Star Safari has become a favorite of mine about his travel through the heart of Africa. He not only illustrates the map of the countries in which he traveled, but the direct route of his journey. When I read Mark Twain, I get a chunk of life on the Mississippi River. No other reader could escape it. Faulkner had the South, Joyce had Dublin, Dickens had London, Kerouac had America. I've learned you can hold the globe in both hands and find the point at which you are now, or the place you someday want to explore. While the page is quiet, if you rest your finger on a city, a town, or a lake, your mind fills with all you know about the space you are in contact with. I don't have to be a dreamer of cities, oceans, or mountains. I can write it all down, and create a map for how I have lived, the discoveries I have made on this globe that I spin, and chronicle the near and far reaches of my make-believe empire.